Greetings and welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Poly Weekly News. I'm your host, Dave Danto. We've got a full crowd with us. At first, I got my buddy Pat Piwowarczyk here with me today. Say hi, Pat.
Hey, how y'all doing?
And we got a couple of nice gentlemen here from Converge One. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves one at a time and tell us who they are and what they do. So, Chris, let's start with you. How does somebody know you, Chris?
Yeah, so I'm Chris Hinch. I'm the chief architect on our Microsoft and our Poly practice here at Converge One. So I do a lot of this. When Poly and Microsoft kind of meet, you're going to find me.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. And Joe, introduce yourself as well.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. Joe Nicotina. I am the Director of Video Collaboration and Meeting Solutions here at C1. Manage a national practice that covers everything video from infrastructure out to the in-room environment.
So, Joe, while we're on you, tell me, who's Converge One? What's the company? Why should we know you?
So Converge One is a systems integrator that specialize across the stack of unified communications, right? We've been in the business for 30 years, and we pride ourselves on our services capabilities to bring value to our customers and clients.
Okay, terrific. And Chris, I'll ask you a similar question is if I've got a bunch of integrators to look at, I've got a bunch of installation companies I can work with and partners, why should somebody pick Converge One?
Oh, the easiest answer is if you look at most of the main service providers or the OEMs that are out there today, and you look at who's number one for service partners in those organizations, talking about Avaya, talking about Cisco, talking about Microsoft, talking about Genesys, C1's going to be the number one US partner for them across the board. And that benefits a lot of companies, no matter where they're starting from and going to. We're going to have experience in both the source and the destination.
Chris, Joe, so great question for you guys. Obviously, we are very familiar with C1 and how we partner with you. Tell us how we're doing with you. What can we do better? How are we doing today? Maybe just if you guys each want to take a question there, right? Maybe what we're doing well. How can we do better? We'd love to hear how our partnership can continue to grow.
And Joe, you want to kick it off? You want me to go?
Sure. I'll start it off. So, Pat, thank you. Great question. I think our strongest alliance in synergy, right, is the broad agnostic portfolio that Poly brings to the table. To touch everything from a collaboration perspective, from headsets and personal little USB cameras, all the way into that in-room environment, and doing it in a way, again, that's friendly across the various platform ecosystems. There's a significant strength and synergy there with our clients that Poly is probably bar none the top in that spectrum.
Awesome.
And I'm going to say one of the things I like the most, there's several things, but just the relationship that we have with you guys. I mean, our channel manager, Kim, she's fantastic. We recently did some stuff at the experience centers, and your staff there was amazing, and just how they treated us as if we were part of theirs. And you guys pretend like how we are with our clients, where we're not a client, we're a partner, right? And so you guys truly treat us like that. And working with Kim, working with you, Pat, working with Chuck on the Microsoft Alliance team, I mean, just the partnership that we have with you guys is heads over everybody.
Yeah, we love the PECs. Go ahead, Pat.
I was going to say, look, I love the feedback. I think the reality is the strength of our company with our solutions and everything we do, but the true strength is our employees, right? So Kim, first class, she does an amazing job, right? Thank you for the kudos. But I think what we do day in and day out is driven by our relationship and partnership as people and what we're doing collectively for our mutual success. So Thank you for that.
And I was just going to say that the PECs are really amazing, and we love the people that work there. And there's nothing like, no matter what hype you hear from competitors of ours and other people in the industry, there's nothing like going in and putting your hands on a piece of the equipment and listening to what it sounds like and looking at the output, because hands down, it's always the best experience when you're using the HP Poly gear. And that's definitely an experience we ask people to have when they're deciding upon what to do. And we're glad you're able to take advantage of that. What are you hearing? What are you hearing from customers right now? This is a weird time. You know, we went through a horrific pandemic, and I won't get into that. Our viewers have heard me talk about that ad infinitum. And now we're going through a little bit of an economic downturn. What are you hearing about what's important to your clients? What are they still struggling with? Is it the hybrid, trying to figure out, you know, what's in office versus not in office, or is there some other concern that's top of mind for the people you're hearing from?
Me, Joe, I want to tackle that one first because I've got a really good kind of use case with several different clients that we're working with. Is everybody was used to working from home, right? Everybody got used to how they worked, but they had this camera, they had this headset, and they were used to this. And then they were all of a sudden shifted back to where they were going, and now they're not comfortable again. And what we've done, and I work closely with Poly HP, or HP Poly, sorry, with you guys closely on this, is how we can create some bundles for the different kind of users that we have. We call them target audiences. You guys call them personas. So we have a way how we can, if you're primarily an at-home user, but you're going to go into the office, then we've got a kit for you, and vice versa. If you're primarily an office user and you're going to occasionally work from home, well, we've got a kit for you, so you can have the same experience, or as same experience as you can, no matter where you work.
Joe, what are you hearing from your clients?
So just to add to that, right? I think Chris hit the nail on the head. It's about the equitable experience, right? If someone is working out of an office on Monday and they're working from home on Tuesday, they're on the road on Wednesday, that experience should be the same with regards to highly reliable, high quality, the ability to contribute to the meeting from anywhere, right? What the pandemic has done, right, has, to your point, David, as horrific as it was, what it has done is really changed the way we work, right? Work has changed from a place you went to, a brick and mortar place, to more of a function that could be carried out anywhere. And you need to have that flexibility to do so. So Poly has been a tremendous partner in that regard, and helping us empower our customers during that journey, whether they're venturing back into the office, whether they're embracing a new hybrid way of work, whether they're staying home, right? And being able to support that equitable experience by leveraging those different packages that Chris mentioned is a tremendous way for us to commoditize the commodity for our clients, right?
Yeah, it's clear that with everything that's happened post pandemic, right? It's all about experience. Now everyone wants to participate and not feel any different if you're in the office, right? Or if you're remote or what have you, right? It's critical. And I think, it would be great, Chris, Joe, if there's anything that you can reference, maybe a win that's happened where a customer was absolutely compelled by those things. Because I think what we're finding, many customers, they're still figuring it out. They need to be led or heard from someone else that they've done it before. Customers are in a position right now where they're unsure, right? What's your return to office strategy? Good question. What's your strategy around taking care of all those that are remote and hybrid? Great question, right? We have a lot of customers that have been in that position, looking at, great example, companies like yourselves and expertise to guide them to that. I was curious, maybe there's something you guys can share on maybe a customer generically that you've been working with, or a vertical that you've solved that problem, or you've led them down the path to be well equipped for that experience improvement.
Yeah, there's a couple that come to mind for me. So, Joe, I've got a couple top of mind. I don't want to steal the one that hopefully it's not the same, because you and I have tagged on a lot. So I'll let you go first, and then I'll pick the other one if you choose that
one. Sure. No, absolutely. So one that recently comes to mind is a large university, right? One of the things that they saw during the pandemic was the need to be able to have extensive reach and provide availability for students to have access to their education, regardless of location, right? And do it in a way that's very efficient and effective. Pat, to your point, so that they're contributing, right? They're able to have an efficient and effective training session. So the large university deployed several Poly products along with powering that connectivity with the Zoom platform to accomplish that. And they've rolled this out to several campuses, as well as, again, making that the hybrid student or remote student also capable to be able to join sessions from wherever they are and be able to conduct a successful means of training remotely. So that's just one example. Chris, hopefully that's not one that I just stole your thunder, but I will pass it back to you.
No, it's good. So I recently have been working with a large financial advisor company. They're mainly in the US, but they do have some reach over the pond, but mainly in the US. They did not want to go home, but they, like everybody, because it's most of the big cities, they were forced to. And so the leases expired in a lot of the buildings. And now they are coming back to the office, and they're outfitting new offices, right? And so instead of having these large conference rooms that they had, they're trying to figure out the spaces that they have, how they make it more how we do work today, right? Because it's not hybrid work. To Joe's point, this is just how we work. And so we're setting up more huddle rooms and more focus rooms and more of the smaller and then medium. So when they do have larger meetings, so we're taking equipment that they had in some of the buildings that, the lease ran out on, that they put them in storage, but we're also just coming in and doing new designs for them based on how many people they want to fit in the room versus the size of the room.
Well, those are great stories. And I'll ask you just, for your opinion, and I honestly want to get it in your own words, even if I'm leading you here. But, we all know that HP and Poly make the best equipment on the planet. We don't even have to talk about that. But, there are lots of other choices that you could make and that companies also make. What's a differentiator for you? And Chris, I'll start with you with for dealing with HP and dealing with Poly. Is it the breadth of solutions across all of the pieces? Is it the innovation? I mean, what is it that does it for you that you steer your clients? Look, I really want to go to Poly Solutions.
Well, there's so many. And if I know you want me to pick one. Oh, that's a tough one.
That's fine.
That's a tough one to pick. So I know the software platforms do a lot of things. So they're going to take whatever image that you give the software platforms, being Teams, being Zoom, being whichever one they use, and they're going to do so much with it. But being able to do it at the hardware layer, like what Poly can do, especially with how you guys do the people framing, how you do the speaker tracking, how you do presenter mode, because it fits in any vertical, right? I was working with a large education customer, and they wanted a better teacher for their virtual classrooms. And so the teacher was able to freely walk around the room because of the technology built into the cameras, not into the software, right? And so we were able to set it up for them in a way where the teacher didn't feel like they were, here inside this window. They could teach as if they were in a classroom. And then another thing that I'm really loving, this is what I love demoing this and I love talking about this, is the acoustic vents. Like, I'm working from home. Everybody's working from home on this call right now. And you guys probably didn't hear it, but the kids were just running up and down the hall. But because acoustic vents, you can't hear it, right? So I love that. That's one of the best things that you guys have.
And it's really interesting. We have had that acoustic fence technology. Obviously, we've improved it and we've improved noise block AI, but we've had them, probably for nearly a decade at this point. And we just had a couple of our competitors on the Enterprise Connect stage announce that they just invented it. So it's really cool. I really love watching that. It's flattery, but still, it's weird. Joe, anything for you? Any reasons why you would steer people to Poly as opposed to some of the other lousy solutions that are out there?
No. Yeah, so of course, right, breadth of portfolio. Again, I mentioned the ability to, the rich history of both organizations, right, of HP and Poly, empowering users multiple decades. So the breadth of that portfolio to reach everybody from that work at home user with, I have my Poly headset on today, all the way into the meeting room environment, and supporting that. So that's stage one. Stage two is the ability to agnostically support the platform of choice. Right? If I want to use Microsoft Teams, I'm not having to change out hardware. If I want to use Zoom, I'm not having to change out hardware. It's a tremendous ROI protection, right? It allows customers to sweat the equity on their investments, even if the platform changes or if they're connecting to someone externally where they're not controlling the platform, right? Having that ability. So the breadth of portfolio, the agnostic capability, and I would say, to the point Chris made, the innovation. The technology that HP Poly bring with regards to sound capabilities or video capabilities with tracking the speakers and, again, accommodating the new way we communicate, right? For the last few years during the pandemic, this is what we've become accustomed to from a video experience perspective, not the days of old with a very long table and small talking heads, right? So that innovation and technology to support as evolution of work is happening before our eyes, Poly does it the best, in my opinion.
Well, it's great to hear such great things about us, but let me tell you, we can't be where we're at today with the success and partnership with you guys, right? So Converge One is absolutely making a difference in the market. We see it, and we appreciate partnering with you. We're as strong as our relationships and our partnerships. So I think those are two things that we continue to build on with your organizations. And we need that type of partnership to excel our success, our mutual success. So with that, my kudos to you guys, and continued for the future, right? We need to continue what we're doing. So thank you.
Absolutely appreciate it. And Chris and Joe, I'm going to ask you one at a time. Chris, I'll start with you first this time. Give me your elevator pitch. You're talking right to the face of the customer, your potential customer. Why Converge One? What should they be doing? What should they know about you? Why should they be calling you first?
So the biggest thing that I always talk about people is no matter where you're coming from, we're going to have experience. And no matter where you're going to, we're going to have experience. We're number one for a reason. We're number one from the platforms, for being the different providers that are out there. We're also number one in our customer reviews. So we have a world-class NPS score, which is, it's basically, think about it, this question you always get asked: would you recommend your vendor to somebody else, your partner to somebody else? We're world-class at people saying yes, they would recommend us to somebody else. So that's not me saying it. That's not Microsoft saying it. That's not Zoom saying it. That's the customer saying, I would recommend you to somebody else.
Awesome. Joe, your thoughts?
Yeah, so Chris kind of stole my thunder on that one a little bit. Right, Converge One, 30 years in the game, David. And, to Chris's point, it's not just about selling a solution or product for us, right? It's more about the experience to the customer from that day two perspective, right? Looking at us as consultative partners that can do everything from that very, very starting point of advisory and consultative services into solution designing, into delivery and professional services, into the day two side with full managed services that, by the way, are supported by C1 intellectual property, right, that we've developed and continue to invest in developing over the last 5 years to make that experience even more powerful for our customers. And I would just end it by saying, first and foremost, we are always ensured to be aligned to the customer's positive business outcomes, right? Even if it's something that is designing outside of what we would generally go to market, if it's the best move for the customer's outcomes, that's what we position our go-to-market strategy around. So that's really our differentiator. And again, to Chris's point, our NPS score is kind of the validation of that.
So Joe, how should somebody find out about Converge One? What should be their first step? Is it email you? Is it LinkedIn? Is it a website? How should somebody find out more about it?
Absolutely. So they can find us, obviously, converge1.com. From there, they can actually drill down into the category of unified communications that they need assistance with, and then from there they'll be able to be identified in terms of point of contacts for video collaboration and meeting solutions. I'm happy to help. I can be reached also through that mechanism, as can Chris Hinch, but converge1.com would probably be the best starting point.
Okay, Joe. Chris, anything else anyone wants to reach out to you? Is there any other way you'd want them to do it, or same thing, just go to the website?
And if you want to reach out to me directly, there's many channels. LinkedIn works, email works. I have plenty of webinars out there where the contact's out there. But I mean, if you're interested in how C1 can help you from a Microsoft and a Poly journey, C1 Microsoft at converge1.com. It comes to the entire team. But I mean, to Joe's point, converge1.com, maybe you need help with enterprise networking. Maybe you need help with contact center. Maybe you need help with data center, refresh or whatever. So it's more than just Microsoft. Now, that's Microsoft's Poly. That's what I do. But as far as how Converge One can help you get from point A to point B, just converge1.com.
That's awesome, gentlemen. Thank you very much. And Pat, I'll ask you a slightly different question. Converge One is an awesome partner. They're obviously the best partner that we have, but we have a lot of other partners as well. If partners want to highlight their story on this show, or be allowed to step up and tell their story, how should they do that?
Yep, the easiest way you can reach out to me is one avenue. Obviously, I'm not the only avenue inside of our company, but Pat.Piwowarczyk at HP.com. I know that's a mouthful, and hopefully my name is across the bar there, so you get the spelling right, but Pat.Piwowarczyk at HP.com, and we'd love to highlight these great partnerships. Yes, Converge One is an amazing partner. We have many more, and we love to take the opportunity to highlight such great partnerships and relationships, so reach out to me.
That's terrific. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being on the show. On next week's show, it's going to be the Monday right before InfoComm. So we're going to be doing a little bit of InfoComm preview conversations with to be determined. I don't know how much we're going to talk about before the show starts, how much we're going to be allowed to spill or whisper. We're not like our competitors having enormous shows announcing things and then not delivering them. We'd rather actually show them to you on the show floor when we make the announcements. Chris, Joe, you've heard of InfoComm, right? We may or may not see you and your team there.
Joe, you're going, right?
I am not going, but I have 3 members, actually 4 members of my team delegated that will be on the show floor those days at InfoComm.
That's awesome. So you'll have them stop by and they'll hear some of these wonderful secrets that we have that we're going to be talking about
Absolutely.
at the show
Yeah.
floor.
We split this year. I got to go to Enterprise Connect, and Joe's team gets to go to InfoComm. So we got to split this year.
And there are other shows going on this year. We have UCX USA in Austin in September. We have a Commercial Integrator Expo, co-located with CDI Expo this year. It's going to be a lot of opportunities, at least to see me.
There you go.
But I'm sure to see a lot of other people. So gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me for this week's episode. For all of my colleagues at HP and Poly, I'm David Danza. Thank you so much for taking your time to spend it with us to learn a little about what's going on. We really do appreciate it, and we will see you next week.